Experts urge Uganda's government to help citizens plan better for retirement.
To save the money, to invest it, and it must begin to give you an income.
Can proper guidance secure the future for Uganda's workforce? The cost of dividing Tororo district.
Ethnic multiplicity in Tororo has come to 78 multiplicities.
Are we drawing lines for development or deepening tribal divisions?
And that weakens the national character of the people because they value more their tribes.
Ministry of Local Government under scrutiny. Millions allegedly diverted to a private account.
Funds are for MATIP. You're diverting it to do another study.
Acholi leaders react to Norbert Mao's presidential ambitions.
He may be completely lost in between working for DP and working with the government.
Can he still be trusted by his own region?
When power is off, the whole place comes dark.
And in Masindi, avoidable deaths at the district hospital as power outages disrupt services.
The baby is there, he's being supported on oxygen, he's being supported.
Who is to blame?
I think there is a problem with electricity right now in this month.
This is MBS Live at 9 with Samson Kasumba.
Thank you for joining us. A very good evening for those of you watching here in the country and those in the diaspora, Ugandans and the entire world. A happy Labor Day. Let's get into it right about now. Analysts and politicians have castigated the NRM administration for laying and setting a bad precedent by having Tororo district subdivided into 3 distinct administrative units on tribal grounds, warning that it is set to worsen service delivery along luring other tribal impacts areas to demand for the same, or is it luring them to demand for the same treatment, hence killing patriotic spirit among and of Ugandans. The NRM Electoral Commission Chairman Dr. Tango Doi has equally opposed the subdividing of districts on tribal grounds, saying it would be imperative for government to be pushed in line of affirmative lines without fuss for creation of due administrative units tied onto district and distinct dispensations.
Welcomed with anger and scanty smiles, the move to create new districts out of Tororo has angered both politicians and analysts who warn that it is set to kill the patriotic spirit of Ugandans who are now demanding for affirmative action based on tribal lines.
But ethnic multiplicity in Tororo has come to 78 multiplicities. So you'll destroy that country or that district by dividing it 78 times.
The people will focus mostly on tribal identities than national identities, and that weakens the national character of the people because they value more their tribes than their nation.
According to analysts and politicians, government is setting a bad precedent by having Tororo carved on ethnic lines, as it has so many tribes that may not get a chance of representation. This, according to them, may raise appetite for other tribes in different regions of the country to demand for similar treatment.
Let's take on government to say we are a big district. Let's take on government on affirmative action, but which is not tied to district dispensation.
Uganda has many tribes, and therefore the districts, if such tribes also demand districts, you'll find that Uganda has very many districts, and this will overstretch the taxpayer.
Few days after Tororo was placed on a plate of administrative dissection, the people of Ayivu division in Arua City have risen up demanding for the creation of Ayivu district to be carved out of Arua City.
When Ayivu was merged into one division, 7 sub-counties were killed. Imagine, 7 sub-counties abolished to create one division. Now what is the problem? No service delivery.
Services have become very expensive in Ayivu.
What's the purpose of a city for the poor? Because the city is cosmopolitan.
To analysts, if this is not tamed, the country is set to witness a worsening surge of service delivery due to inflated and non-reasonable administrative costs.
Funds you would use to promote citizenry livelihood is again wasted own administrative.
If government would use that money, which they would spend on paying the MPs per month, the RDCs, the district chairpersons, on providing social services to the people would be happy and they would find no need for the new districts.
Many tribes have been itching to have a representation in parliament, as the case is with other special interest groups. But how sustainable is this?
Still on splitting the country, senior politician Robert Centenary has also weighed in on the challenge of splitting districts in the country, saying it does have an origin from eastern Uganda, where opportunists started these by eating rodents such as rats. He says this set the pace for creating administrative units which have worsened the divisive spirit and culture within the Pearl of Africa.
This vice of splitting districts started with eating rats still in eastern Uganda, and I can see that it has become a problem to our country because it set a pace for creating administrative units. If you say you're splitting a district based on tribal sentiments, you're already becoming divisive. You're not providing a solution. What about the other tribes that are in Tororo or in any other district that you want to split based on tribes? Should they also demand for districts? For instance, you're creating a district for Teso, for Bateso in Tororo. Teso as a sub-region already has 11 districts. So what remedy are you trying to put in place? I think we should find a way of peacefully coexisting with one another. The solution of coexistence does not lie in splitting of districts. I think what matters most is the resource allocation to those districts so that service delivery is felt, the trickle-down effect of service delivery. A lot of money is spent at the center. There's a lot of wasteful expenditure.
The rest for Northern Uganda Youth Member of Parliament under the ruling National Resistance Movement ticket is gaining pace as 5 aspirants began traversing Northern Uganda in search of support for their visions. Aspirants include Zopster Kure from Karamoja, Winnie Tim Brenda from Agago, Okulu Jimmy from Apach, Daniel Obal from Abletong, and Ashraf Asega Fataki moving across sub-regions including West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Karamoja, engaging young people and laying out their visions ahead of the NRM party primary elections. Isaac Otui reports.
With the 2026 NRM primary election drawing closer, the Northern Youth MP flag bearer competition is intensifying. As 5 people eye the party flag, the 5 aspirants have launched vigorous grassroots campaigns, targeting youth council meetings and community events, and mobilizing across districts to pitch their agendas. The aspirants include Zopster Kure, Winnie Tim Brenda, Jim Okulu, Daniel Obal, and Ashraf Asega Fataki.
Let the young people of Northern Region trust me this time to go and ably lead them with all the qualities of leadership I have.
Winnie Brenda Tim says she's motivated by the daily struggles faced by young people in Northern Uganda, emphasizing the need for location-specific policy response to address unemployment in the region.
We can task all the investors that come in the country to employ at least 60% of the local people, and at least they should be in the youth bracket. That we shall be able to mitigate the problem of unemployment.
So I am here to make sure that the voice of the young people in Northern Uganda are heard. The issues are presented and we make advocacy for the young people in Northern Uganda.
Daniel Obal, a development practitioner from Aleptong district, said his campaign focuses on environmental protection, youth economic empowerment, and inclusive policy making.
We need to embrace quality education. We need to support our young people to join the money market because unemployment is killing our young people. Agriculture is predominantly sustainable.
Meanwhile, Jim Okulu, a clinical officer and social worker, said many youth leaders have detached themselves from their constituents once elected, leaving the region unrepresented.
This has really differentiated
the services that the young people have elected for their leaders, and they have not seen their leaders come down to them to put in place, to implement the different manifestos that have been laid before them during the time that they are requesting for their votes.
The position of youth MP for Northern Uganda has often drawn intense competition given the region's large youth population and growing demand for inclusive development policies. The seat is currently held by Boniface Okot, who was elected in 2021 on the NRM ticket.
Over to matters of the day as the country does commemorate International Labour Day under the theme Occupational Health and Safety, a fundamental right at work. Concerns are mounting over the realities faced by workers in Uganda's booming cement industries. In Tororo, where cement factories have become a lifeline for employment, a closer look reveals a troubling gap between policy and practice. While factory management insists on strict safety protocols, some workers continue to brave hazardous conditions without minimal protection.
For years, cement factories in Tororo have played a pivotal role in creating job opportunities for Ugandans, especially those from the district. For instance, Simba Cement, commissioned in 2018, is directly and indirectly employing over 2,000 people, with more than 500 of them in direct employment. And in line with this year's Labour Day theme, Occupation Health and Safety, a fundamental right at work, we visited the factory to assess how management is safeguarding the lives of its workers. Upon arrival, we were immediately equipped with protective gear before accessing the factory premises, a gesture that suggests safety is a top priority, according to management.
We have invested heavily in the modern technologies which controls the dust emission, and we provide all the PPEs to all the workers so that their personal health and safety is ensured in the plant while they are working.
But while the management claims to have invested in safety measures, the situation on ground tells slightly a different story. At the cement loading bay, where bags are prepared for market distribution, we observed some workers operating in dusty conditions without proper protective equipment. Several declined to speak on camera, but expressed concerns over long exposure to cement and lack of safety oversight.
We've been receiving complaints about these people who get into problems at their workplaces in these factories, and it has been a challenge helping them.
In response, factory management shifts the blame to the third-party companies contracted to provide casual laborers and to workers themselves.
You see, company is providing them PPEs. Now it is individual who is responsible to wear it and ensure that he is safe. He or she is safe.
District leaders have argued that the problem goes beyond individual responsibility and implicates a broader failure in enforcement, accusing the district labour officer of turning a blind eye.
Even our labour officer is not very honest, because they deal directly with the factory people to do assessment based on the levels of injuries, and at the end of the day, the workers don't get the rightful compensation that they are supposed to get.
Our efforts to reach the district labour officer for a comment were unsuccessful, as he was unavailable at the time. However, in a recent shift, Simba Cement has begun penalising contractors who fail to meet safety requirements for the workers they recruit, citing the fact that the company already caters for safety-related items when paying the contractors.
If they don't provide any safety gears, then we are going to take very strict action against them.
The long-standing debate on instituting a national minimum wage has once again resurfaced, exposing sharp divisions among stakeholders on whether the time is right to implement it. Critics say that given the hard economic conditions, the government has to set a minimum wage to ensure that workers are paid a fair and livable wage to reduce poverty, improve economic stability, and promote social justice.
Low-paid and precarious work is a pressing and salient problem in many developing countries like Uganda, according to the Chief Executive Officer of the Federation of Uganda Employers, Douglas Opio. The Federation's position on the issue of minimum wage has remained unchanged for over a decade. Opio reiterates that the Employment Federation supports the introduction of a minimum wage, arguing that underpayment or token wages result in a demotivated workforce, one that only pretends to work and ultimately compromises productivity.
We support the idea of the minimum wage. As the Federation of Uganda Employers, we always tell employers that when you pretend to pay, the workers also pretend to pay to work. So basically, it's not productive at all.
Further points out that the neighboring countries, especially Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania, alongside global economies like the United States, have long embraced minimum wage structures, positioning Uganda as an outlier in regional labor reforms.
We have minimum wage in Kenya, we have minimum wage in Tanzania, we have minimum wage in Rwanda, even developed economies like the US, we have minimum wages. But you see, production and the competitiveness of businesses have not been affected.
However, Rashid Semambo, a lawyer and businessman, holds a contrasting view. He believes that Uganda's current economic climate does not support the introduction of a minimum wage, citing fears of increasing the cost of doing business and discouraging investment.
Minimum wage applies only where the sources of employment are so prevalent in an economy, but it doesn't matter anymore. So there is stress onto the workplaces that they actually require this labor.
The Minister of Gender, Betty Amongi, also echoed concerns about Uganda's readiness for a national minimum wage. She highlighted that the country is a largely informal economy and the fragile profitability of many industries make it risky to implement a blanket wage policy.
Most of the industries that are still employing Ugandans, either in industrial parks or in other places, are still small and medium in nature. So they also do not have the robust capital and profits that are able to sufficiently cover minimum wage.
Nonetheless, the minister assured the public that consultations are ongoing to establish sector-specific wage frameworks.
The country will also want a win-win situation with the workers.
While the minimum wage debate continues to divide opinion, what is clear is that Uganda is walking a tightrope, balancing the need to protect workers' rights with the realities of a vulnerable economy.
In numbers that matter this evening, we are shining a spotlight on the unemployment crisis in the country and putting that crisis in terms of numbers. Now, don't look at these as statistics. We are talking human beings. Now, 10.7 million youths are unemployed, and we're talking young people between 18 and 30 years of age. Now, we're talking the job search. We're talking 700,000 plus searching for jobs. Then again, bringing that further context to it, workers in positions matching their qualifications, that is 38%, 88% employed workers working in the informal sector, and then 12.86% graduates searching for formal employment. That's 12.86%. And then when you look at the numbers, that is 2019, juxtaposing that with 2025. In 2019, we had 10.2 million. And in 2025, we are talking 9.4 million. Those are basically the numbers as it were in terms of looking at the numbers here. as far as the unemployment crisis is concerned. Still talking unemployment, the ruling National Resistance Movement is being accused of turning a blind eye to the suffering of workers in Uganda who are forced to seek employment abroad, often in countries without formal agreements with Uganda. Critics say that for close to 40 years of the NRM administration, unemployment and underemployment and general labor dissatisfaction should not be Uganda's familiar challenge.
The world in commemorating the International Workers' Day, questions around job scarcity and complaints from employers continue to surface in domestic working space.
One, there has not been effective protection of workers' rights. Why, up to now, we have a singular or one industrial court that sits at Ntinda to arbitrate labor disputes from across the hundreds of districts Uganda has.
According to the Foreign Affairs Minister, Uganda has not done enough in labor externalization.
But as we speak now, Uganda has negotiated bilateral protective bilateral labor agreements with countries of the world, especially in countries where we have a high concentration of Ugandans. Many of them, for example, when you look at UAE, they are either in prisons or sleeping on streets, and they feel resorting to very awkward casual employment.
The Ugandan Society says that while Uganda has worked on the Employment Act, more needs to be done to achieve things such as a lifeline wage.
Once you understand that your colleague in a certain area is getting this much money and you're getting this low money, there is a way you can actually all right. I think this is happening in all the areas, the entertainment industry, be it the growing industry. This has to be what we're doing.
The National Bar Association maintains that more innovative ways on how to curb youth unemployment should anchor all political parties' investors in the run-around to 2026 general polls.
Just that industrial agriculture is the backbone of this country, and by industrializing the agricultural part, we can ensure that there are very many Ugandans who can get jobs. We have areas like tourism and ICT that actually are being internationally.
The National Unity Platform states that all these concerns were the Harvey's 2021 manifesto, and it will be ranking on the 2026 manifesto, contrary to what the NRM process.
I think the NRM regime has been deliberate to suffocate the youth. Whenever you seek answers, Mr. Museveni will go into the vote. So he's only mindful of those who went to the bush and their families.
The youth make the largest demographic constituent relevant to any party that wishes to win an election. Parties, both opposition and the Labour Party, are all hands to lure them to their side.
Moving into the legal profession, the National Bar Association Uganda Law Society calling for the decentralization of the practicing certificates for advocates in Uganda. According to the treasurer of the association, Arthur, the delay in issuance of the one-year practicing certificate necessitates digitization, centralization, and the lengthening of the validity of the certificate, short of which the legal profession will suffer under the heavy weight of inefficiency.
We have observed there is a delay when it comes to the issuance of practicing certificates, and this is where we have urged the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary to ensure that there is a speedy issuance of practicing certificates. And in fact, the recommendation is that, if possible, we can start issuing certificates that range between 2 to 5 years. It is possible. We can have certificates where, especially for practice for quite a number of years, we can get a certificate that has a span for 5 years. We are looking at the digitalization of issuing certificates. As we speak now, all certificates issued manually. So we are talking about issuing digital certificates. We can go digital in terms of issuance of certificates. And also we are looking at the decentralization of issuance of certificates. Obviously, peak is only the High Court, where the Chief Registrar sits, that can actually issue practicing certificates. But we have Ugandans, we have advocates all over the country. We have advocates in northern Uganda, western Uganda, even here in central.
More to come.
At some point, everybody is going to have to retire out of work. And the question then is, how important is it for the employer and the employee to get together to participate in designing and implementing a structured exit? Who thinks it is important? Who thinks it isn't? When we come back right after the break.
Everyone has a dream this year, and it's your turn to Joga 2025 with ABSA. Switch to ABSA and make your dream a reality by applying for the ABSA SME unsecured loan. Call 0800 222 333 and let's get started. ABSA, your story matters. Join us at the East African Carbon Markets Forum 2025 on May 8th to 9th at Mistel Hotel and Residencies, Kampala. This two-day event brings together key stakeholders shaping the region's carbon markets and sustainable future. Day 1 features expert panels on regulations, financing, and new market opportunities. Day 2 offers specialized workshops and fireside chats for in-depth discussions. Connect with industry leaders, investors, government officials, and sustainable advocates while gaining insights into East Africa's evolving carbon markets. Don't miss this chance to be part of the conversation defining the next phase of carbon markets in the region. Register or partner up now at www.carbonmarketsforum.com.
Hi, thank you for coming.
Just a second.
Where is your tax clearance certificate? You don't seem to have a tax clearance certificate, do you?
Oh no, I haven't filed my returns.
Sorry, we can't proceed without it. Can we bring in another bidder now?
Opportunities don't wait. Avoid penalties and interest by filing and paying your taxes before June 30th, 2025. Call our toll-free number or WhatsApp for help.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Hey, Okero. Hey, Kajambo. Mukasa. Where are you going with the family?
Oh no. We are on our way to the polling station. The Electoral Commission is displaying the National Voters Register. And I need to make sure my name is on it. And Sophie here wants to confirm her voter details. We are all warming up for elections. Okay?
What about these young men? I can see you.
These ones are no longer boys. They are now men. Last election, they were too young to vote. But now, they are ready to vote.
Mukasa, you have really inspired me. Now let me also go home and pick my wife. So that we can check the details in the register. Okay. See you on the polling station.
The National Voters Register will be displayed at your polling station from 25th April to 15th May 2025. Please do not miss this chance to confirm your polling station and your voter details. Report the dead for removal from the register and those who appear more than once. Every vote matters. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Commission of Uganda.
MTN Momo introduces Yinvesta, a convenient way to make your money work for you. Customers can invest as low as 1,000 Uganda shillings, earn daily interest, and withdraw their savings anytime they want. Simply follow these steps. Dial *165#, select option 7, Invest and Insure, select option 1, Invest with Momo. Then select option 1, Yinvesta. Finally, enter your PIN to unlock the power of Yinvesta. MTN. Together, we're unstoppable.
Well, now to the story of persons near my age. Uganda retirement benefits sector is under the spotlight as pension experts call for the radical shift on how retirement planning is approached, warning that failure to guide retirees on how to use their benefits could lead to widespread post-retirement suffering and stress. Pension expert Dogo Singh emphasized that both employers and employees must actively participate in the designing and implementing of structured exit plans that help retirees manage their benefits wisely.
Uganda's retirement benefits sector is now 25.40 trillion shillings, an 18.6% increment from 21.4 trillion shillings in 2023. Equally, the sector's contribution to the national GDP has grown to 12.2%, up from 10% in 2023. Despite Uganda's growing population and the consequent increase in the working population age, coverage of the pension sector remains low. The growing concern is that many people, upon receiving their retirement payouts, misuse the funds due to lack of financial literacy or guidance, leaving them vulnerable in their later years. Among the proposed solutions are the annuity programs and unit trust investments, financial vehicles that can provide consistent income streams to retirees, helping them maintain financial independency and dignity throughout their retirement years.
People don't plan. You need to have a plan, an exit plan, when you became actively employed, during and also when you're out of employment. And I think the biggest challenge that people usually face is they get a lump sum amount of money and they don't know what to do with that money. You're not a businessman, you've been employed. So when you get, let's say, maybe like 500 million, you do not know where to place it immediately.
Echoing the urgency, the CEO of the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, Martin Nsubuga, decried the persistently low penetration coverage in the country. He emphasized that a significant portion of Uganda's working population remains operate outside an informal retirement scheme and at a high risk of old age poverty.
It has grown, but it should be more than that because the working population is around 18 million. So that gives us work to do. The most important thing is that those people who are saving have been able to save in this market around 28 trillion.
That money, you must put some economic calculations. You must know that you need to save the money, you need to invest it, and it must begin to give you an income. So once they get their money, my advice is that they should start saving a portion of their money. While they are doing other things of consumption nature, they must also put their money in savings. Not only waiting for a rainy day, but savings must begin to make more money.
Experts urge all stakeholders, employers, financial institutions, civil society and governments to help demystify retirement planning and make saving schemes more accessible and attractive to the masses.
I think the employers in Uganda need to come up with programs to enable people to raise awareness about retirement, because whether you like it or not, all of us at a certain point T will have to face our sunset and maybe retire. When you retire, you immediately realize that now you have to do what we call out of pocket. And out of pocket is expensive. So medical care is a critical issue during retirement. And I think for people who are planning to retire, they need to have a plan. There are medical insurance companies in Uganda currently that actually offer healthcare that are quite relatively cheap, and they have even removed the age band. So for instance, currently in the market, if you're 65 years, the medical care stops.
Switching over to accountability and oversight, the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee has faulted officials from the Ministry of Local Government for fraudulent operations and the diverting of shillings 64 million into road projects and failure to account for various projects under its docket. The committee noted poor planning of projects and resource abuse, where shillings 1.4 billion was paid to a special account.
Officials from the Ministry of Local Government, led by Permanent Secretary Benjamin Kamumanya, appeared before the Muhammad Mwanga Chivumbi Public Account Committee to respond to queries of 2023-2024 of the Auditor General's report.
Markets and Agriculture Trade Improvement Program. Yes, Chair.
You have a diversion of 64.8 million to activities which were not related to the project.
And didn't see it as diversion. We made our explanation. You can't go to a phase 3 without concluding the phase.
Simple.
Didn't deem that we needed authorization to conclude the phase 2 project as a gateway for a phase 3 project.
While scrutinizing their project implementation performance, members noted a mismatch of funds meant to implement various projects.
The funds are for MATIP. You're diverting it to do another study. And that is a small thing we want you to accept that was wrong.
Double payment from 9.5 to 18.23 is the result of VAT.
Under the Markets and Agriculture Yard Improvement Project, MATIP-2, the committee observed overpayment on consultancy and poor market designs that are not demand-driven, yet the project was highly funded. Other concerns that spurred debate during the interactions was the creation of a special account where billions of monies was diverted, thus affecting project implementation.
You paid 394.6, nearly 400,000 US dollar. You took it to a special account. We want to know that account.
Still in Parliament, legislators sitting on the Parliamentary Forum on Antimicrobial Resistance are concerned that the existing National Drug Authority Act of 2003 is not competitive to allow some of the international pharmaceutical factories to set up their plants in Uganda. It was speaking at the dissemination of a study report on antimicrobial resistance. The chairperson of the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on the Antimicrobial Resistance, Dr. Charles Ayume, saying there is need for government to present to Parliament an amendment of this act for Uganda to make the pharmaceutical sector competitive.
Members of Parliament on the Parliamentary Forum on Antimicrobial Resistance, together with the Infectious Disease Institute at Makerere University, are concerned with increasing antibiotic or drug resistance in humans, plants and animals.
Antimicrobial resistance means you have an infection and then you take an antibiotic, but it doesn't work. And you either end up dead, or you end up staying in the hospital longer, or you cure but with a complication.
This may be the new pandemic. And why would it be the new pandemic? Because a simple question I would ask you as a media or to the audience is that what happens if all the antibiotics stopped working?
They argue that globally, 1.2 million people are losing their lives as a result of antimicrobial resistance, with Uganda alone losing $25 million through procuring antibiotics that are infective.
It means we are throwing away that money, 25 million. Why am I saying that? Because we are buying drugs, giving them to patients, but they're not working. So the money is lost.
Both Dr. Charles Ayume and Dr. Andrew Kambugu, the Executive Director of Infectious Disease Institute at Makerere University, explained that the antibiotic abuse, unregulated use of antibiotics are among the cause of this global burden.
People using antibiotics without proper training, or people walking to pharmacies and using them, or antibiotics being used in the animal sector and ending up affecting humans.
The institute is now asking government to consider appropriating a budget to help in the fight against this antimicrobial resistance, adding that depending on the external support alone may not be suitable in addressing this challenge.
What we are saying is, in future, that those resources may not be available. So one of the reasons we have members of parliament here is that as they make national budgets and allocations, that some resources are targeted towards this problem of antimicrobial resistance.
And I'm very happy to say that for the first time in the history of Parliament, in the ministerial policy statement, we had a component on antimicrobial resistance, urging government to provide the necessary resources, surveillance, lab capacity.
Meanwhile, the former chairperson of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Charles Ayume, revealed the need to amend the National Drug Authority Act of 2003 if the pharmaceutical sector in Uganda is to be competitive.
And once we have an amended act, then we attain what we call maturity level 3, meaning we are able to attract investors. There are some factories, pharmaceutical factories, that cannot come and set up here because we are not at maturity level 3.
Over to the national celebrations of International Labour Day in Nakapriprit, where President Yoweri Museveni has given workers hope, stating that the proposal for a minimum wage is under discussion and that a decision beneficial to workers will be made. The president made the pledge while in Nakapriprit district during the commemoration of International Labour Day.
While officiating at the International Labour Day in Karamoja, President Yoweri Museveni made several promises to workers to enhance productivity at workplaces. These include addressing the long-standing issue of minimum wage, improving their working conditions, among others. He assured workers that in his meetings with leaders of workers' unions, several workers-centered issues were discussed. President Museveni emphasized that the government is focused on job creation, including the construction of good roads, to attract investors to set up industries in various regions, thereby creating more jobs. He also noted that agriculture is a top priority for the government to ensure individuals can earn income from farming. Museveni advised the people of Karamoja to embrace farming as a source of income and encouraged them to abandon outdated practices, especially now that peace has returned to the region. He emphasized that farming can be very profitable, and if well managed, a large farm can even provide jobs.
Once you start producing, then the next question is who buys? So if you are serious, you now be talking about the markets of East Africa, of Uganda, of East Africa, of Africa. Otherwise, who will buy? If there are so many eggs, so much pigs, who will buy them?
He also warned against cattle theft, saying the vice can lead to the spread of disease and loss of all their livestock.
Somebody who loves cows like me, I cannot steal a cow. So what you are doing now in this region, Turkana, Kenya, all these South Sudan, stealing cows, you are actually enemies of cows. That is what we, the cattle lovers, do. We don't mix our cows with other cows, because if you do, they will die because of disease.
During the celebrations, 61 individuals were awarded medals in various categories, including retired army officers and former chairperson of the military court, General Andrew Guti, who hails from Napak in Karamoja.
Feedback brought to you by
At Absa Corporate and Investment Banking, we are invested in your story, and we invite you to write it with us because your story matters. Absa.
It's time for us to get into the feedback, and this was the question: how, in your view, can the government of Uganda, employers and workers collaborate to improve working conditions that's poor in Uganda's industries? And Bill Bridge says the government should amend various policies that protect the workers, like setting a minimum wage policy that improves workers' standards of living, and also improvising protective gear to workers in manufacturing sectors like helmets to protect their lives while at workstations. And Brunala Alex, I believe collaboration between government employers and workers can improve conditions through joint regulation, training, dialogue, and fair labor policies. And Isaac Jeff says, first of all, most factory workers don't know their rights. In my opinion, it should be made compulsory for factory workers to be in a trade union. And then lastly, there is what we, I think you mean, there is what we call consultative management or participative management. This is the best. This is where we look at views from your leaders. The Fountain of Honor, President Yoweri Museveni, Enshoni in Runyankore is a Runyankore word that refers to a deterrent for wrongdoing. Enshoni Nche is shamelessness, and in the Uganda sense, it applies to opposition and their sympathizers. In Nakapriprit, we have put the Alayer, shameless people, to shame. The labor union members who were in Entebbe until late drove to Nakapriprit before me, pointing to good roads and security. Health immunization has seen the population increase. Electricity and dams say the situation is improving, irrespective of mistakes in some ministries like works, where old road maintenance is neglected, like in the case of Mitiana Mubende Road. Once a road is tarmacked, it will not be allowed to deteriorate. Signed and sealed, President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Anitanita Monk Magogo. Happy Labor Day to all men and women whose hard work, expertise and dedication have shaped our service, civil service, armed forces and informal sector. Our beautiful country thrives and depends on your goodwill. We acknowledge your contribution and patriotism. Happy Labor Day. Anitanita Mong, Speaker of the 11th Parliament. No, but now our workers toil daily. Is it asking too much to celebrate them for just one day? Let's celebrate our workers. Happy Labor Day. Getting into what is coming in a few, that is the front line being the night of Thursday, and the subject being discussed is inside the politics of ultimatums, reunions and new formations. Of course, Semjunganda Fonopondo is on. I also see here retired Major James Kinobe and Lulume Baiga, Doctor, as well as Aisha Kabanda, and the man of vocabularies, Fred Mukasambide. That's the frontline team, certainly moderated by Simon Kagwanjala. We will ask him whether he is. Let's go for the break.
Ever caught yourself staring at your dream car thinking, one day, but why wait? With NCBA Asset Finance, that one day is today. It's right now. Get up to 100% financing for a brand new car from Motocare at reduced prices, with low interest rates, a 2-month repayment holiday, discounted comprehensive insurance, and up to 72 months to repay. It's time to get the car that suits your lifestyle. Visit a Motocare showroom or NCBA branch near you. Call 0800 222 123 or email contact ug@ncbagroup.com to apply today.
Uganda Twake, Sayakara, Rascon Twake. Ignite your blue, Saya orange, Twake ready, Sayakara.
Twake for our teams. Ignite your color with Plascon, proud partner of Uganda Sports. Color your world.
Looking for a vacation of a lifetime? Cross the equator and discover Pineapple Bay Resort. Enjoy exceptional life's luxuries. Spend quality time with family, friends, or even that special someone. Get in touch with nature with our range of outdoor activities. The calming tranquility of water, breathtaking views, moving memories around campfires. It's all here. Plus, a club experience like no other. At Pineapple Bay Clubhouse, it's a whole vibe. You can hire any of our 3 VIP cruise boats for groups of 10, 14, or 25 people. Or you can cruise out with swag on a luxury yacht for 12 people. Our premium boats are all safety compliant. Make your next vacay an all-round experience at Pineapple Bay, located on Bulago Island, right in the midst of Lake Victoria. Talk to us today.
Nala Instant Noodles, the ultimate convenience. Just boil, season, stir, and enjoy the delicious different flavors. Get your Nala Instant Noodles today for a quick, tasty meal. Available in shops and supermarkets countrywide. For wholesalers and traders, visit Chapa General Enterprises, shop number 3, Chikubo, Kampala, Rafik Building. Nala Instant Noodles, boil, season, stir, and enjoy.
Hey kids, we're going to count today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enjoy 5 ways to love your baby, smoothen and protect your baby's skin with 5 new gentle formulations. Original to nurture your baby, aloe vera to protect your boo-boo skin, cocoa butter to comfort your pinkle, mild scent to soothe your little one, and avocado to soften your boo-boo skin. Available in all supermarkets, retail shops, and cosmetics shops near you. Move it, baby jelly. All day confidence.
Yeah, possible.
Looks like whoever drops the ball finds the Pepsi. Go on, Jack. Sonny! Saved by Leah Williamson. Wow, Vinny Jr. Game over.
Wait, there's only one Vinny J.
Pepsi, thirsty for more.
Business Pulse.
Let's go over to fairness, and it is the State Minister for Privatization and Investment, Evelyn Anite, who has called on Namamve Industrial Park investors to prioritize decent work and pay for all workers. Minister Anite is now highlighting the worker exploitation concerns at Namamve Industrial Park, citing the need for fair treatment for all workers. She made the remarks during the annual meeting of investors at the Namamve Industrial Parks, where key agencies did attend, including the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, Uganda Revenue Authority, and the National Social Security Fund, among others. Evelyn Anite is now calling on investors to cooperate, at least the ones in Namamve, to cooperate on matters having a single sewage line. That project is soon to be implemented.
We have to make profit, at the same time make the people we employ happy, give them decent pays. In the absence of minimum wage, I would really like to ask all of us today, and I've started with this industrial park because it's our flagship project. I am going to all the other industrial parks in the country to pass the same message. In the absence of minimum wage, let us pay our workers decently for us to get good output out of them. I thought I would get hand claps from you. Those of you who are already giving decent pay, thank you very much. Let us pay our people decently, because every time I brag about you in the public, the first call I get is, Anita, they're exploiting our workers. You're bragging that they've created. Do you know that Namamve alone, when we finish the project, we are going to have 200,000 jobs in Namamve Industrial Park? And when I brag about it and say we are going to have 200,000 jobs, they say, those jobs of yours that pay 3,000. And NEMA has warned us. The ED warned me and told me I should have this annual meeting urgently, because if the floods come, we are going to get flooded at the industrial park. and therefore urgently I should work with the Lagan Dot to ensure that we build the sewage lines. When I reached out to the Lagan Dot, they told me, Honorable would like to fast track the opening and building of the sewage lines, but some investors have constructed their factories on the sewage lines.
And a very good evening to you. Jermaine Egesa here once again with the headlines from the world of sport. We start off with some basketball as the Federation of Uganda Basketball Associations, FUBA's lower division leagues, including the Division 1 and 2, are set to be hosted at the Ham Stadium in Nachivubo. This was confirmed in a press conference held at the stadium today, and action will commence this Saturday.
This weekend we'll be tipping off right here at Ham's Stadium, Nachivubo. Both on Saturday and Sunday, and thereafter we'll be having mainly our Sunday games here and Saturday games at various locations around Kampala and around the country as well. Our Xavier Banyabo ladies team withdrew and was replaced by Angels Basketball Club, which happened to be the third placed team last year in the Division 1 women's category.
Still sticking with basketball, City Oilers guard Fayed Bale points to an improved defensive display as the reason for the team's 60-56 victory over the Victoria Crocs yesterday. This was the third win for the defending champions after what has been a dismal start.
Having missed the season opening games due to injury, Fayed Bale has returned to add grit to the City Oilers. Despite a competitive display from both sides throughout the four quarters, the 10-time record champions were strong in the closing stages to register a third season victory with a 60-56 win over Victoria Crocs. Bale, who has played a crucial role for the side over the past two campaigns, remains a key figure for the side following the departure of several players in the recent past.
We just have to keep on improving, and I think we shall be better. Yeah, we're getting some good stops, and in the next games we shall be fine.
He says focus remains on retaining the title.
Of course, the goal is to win a championship, but still, however much we've started badly, we just have to build up on it.
Meanwhile, the National Basketball League action returns tomorrow as UC Lady Cannons face KCA Leopards, while Namongo Blazers take on UCU Cannons in the men's tie. Games will be broadcast live on NBA Sport and the AfroMobile app.
Right. On to the sport of handball. Now 9 nations are set to take part in the forthcoming IHF Africa Zone 5 Women's Youth and Junior tournaments that are due from the 6th to the 10th this month in Uganda. Sheila Agonzibwe, the Uganda Handball Federation president, believes the tournament will give Ugandan teams the much-needed exposure. This tournament will also act as the qualifier for the Continental Trophy.
It gives us to know our strengths, both in infrastructure and in competition, because we are struggling as regards infrastructure, so we want to test what is in Uganda and see if the world accepts it.
This project is a very good project because we are eyeing at the 2026, 2028 Olympics, so it's a good development because it is underage. We are working on the underage.
We are all prepared, we are together. We are so very much sure that we shall win these games if we are all training together like this.
And to wrap it up, let's get into some football news as Vipers Sports Club are braced for their Stanbic Uganda Cup semi-final first leg against the holders Chitara Football Club this Saturday at the St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. The Premier League table leaders fell to Chitara last season. The other semi-final first leg will see joint record champions KCCA FC host FUFA Big League side Kataka FC on Sunday night in Lugogo.
Because we always take a game at a time, so our focus is on Saturday. We win that, then we think about the rest.
Very important because KC is a winning team, and as far as football is concerned in Uganda, this is the only trophy we are looking for.
And that's it from us here on the Sports Desk. Join us on NBS Sport, where we're all about championing Ugandan sport for bigger headlines, updates, breaking news, and of course, your live action.
Maya ngenze mbonipa Sam anazanya roto ganyiga star 278 then hash ujja kuba ngo oyingire mu kazannyo nga sente zino zimula wano zina wangu zino wano milioni 10 ebindi wana soka bila ku TV nange sasoka kikiriza ninga mulaye kino kinzo kubanga kituufu oba yaddala tibya bufere sente zino nazikoze eki naziwangudde amasanyu ina mangi ebyoto byange byembadde njagala ngenda bitukiriza.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win. Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory.
Techno and MTN, together our flash snap is unstoppable. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. Up next. Brought to you by
Color is back! Buy Rock Boom, check under the cap. What you see is what you win. Cars, motorbikes, bicycles, millions, smartphones, flat screens, your Nabibio!
Rock Boom, energy for winners. Not for sale to children, pregnant women, lactating mothers, and people sensitive to caffeine. This promotion is approved by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
It's certainly been a pleasure being of service to yourselves. From myself, Samson Kasumba, senior broadcaster, handing over to another senior broadcaster, Simon Kagwa Njala. Simon is SK, I'm also SK. Simon, we are not yet veteran broadcasters. That will come in the next 20 years. But of course, we know a lot of things that many young people don't know. One of such things is what it was like for one's hair to be cut under a mango tree with the clippers.
Actually, those should be some of the conversations we should share to people on Labor Day, that we've really toiled and come from far. No wonder we can now be relied upon for institutional memory. Good evening.